I make very poor decisions in life, yet trading in my old Switch to get a discount on the Switch OLED isn't one of them. Rarely do I ever buy a new console just 2 months after its release date, but I made an exception this one time. Why? Well, my old Switch was kind of falling apart, both figuratively and literally. Keep in mind, the Switch that I had was the HAC001 model, or as you may know, the original model from 2017. I never upgraded to the Switch V2 or the Switch Lite, I just kinda stuck with the Switch V1 all the way from December of 2017 to December of 2021. So it's natural that I'd be having a few issues with the console over that period of time. For starters, the kickstand was so loose and kept falling off so much that I had to tape it down because it was just so annoying to deal with. The fan was so broken that every time I turned on the Switch, it would make this loud humming noise and it would start vibrating uncontrollably, even when I was in the system menu. Hell, my roommate even said that it sounded like it was gonna blow up. Also, the screen just felt like it was getting smaller and smaller, and I really wanted the bigger screen. So I went to GameStop, got my in-store credit for trading in the console, and bought the last one they had in stock at a discounted price of like $160, which is really good when you consider the fact that the actual console itself is $350. So now that I've spent a week with the console, what do I think? Well, to start, let's discuss what's actually included inside the box, which includes the same stuff as the original Switch, but in a box that's much smaller and more compact. In terms of what's actually different, there's the Switch OLED itself, the new dock, and these new Joy-Con straps, and that's about it. Moving on to the console itself, I really like the design and the feel of it. Putting the Joy-Cons into the system feels a lot more snug and secure than the original Switch V1, which always gave me the feeling that the Joy-Cons would break off of the console, even when I had first gotten my hands on it. With the OLED, I don't feel any flex at all, and the Joy-Cons feel like they're going to stay attached to the console. The rails for sliding in the Joy-Cons also have a different sound and feel to them as well. It's infinitely more satisfying to slide them in than I do it at complete random a lot of the time. I don't care what you say, it's just fun to do. The new kickstand is so much better. It's way easier to play it in tabletop mode, and it's super versatile. You can orient it in almost any way to your liking without the frustration of it breaking off constantly. The new dock that comes with the console is only slightly better, but also kind of worse. It's better because of the more modernized feeling and look of the dock, with its rounded edges and added Ethernet port, but it's also worse because of the flimsy back panel that I legitimately thought I had broken when I had first pulled it off. This could have been fixed easily by simply adding a moving part, similar to the original Switch dock's back panel. Besides that, and the new Joy-Con straps, the only other new feature that comes with the OLED is that the internal storage is slightly larger at 64GB, as opposed to the original Switch's 32GB. To be honest, this isn't much, and I think that they could have upgraded the internal storage to, at the very least, 128GB. I honestly don't think it would have brought up the cost at all, or even by a whole lot if they had to. Other than that, I would say that I'm fairly satisfied in this department. Now, the Switch OLED is called the Switch OLED because of the OLED screen. At first sight, it might be safe to assume that because the screen is bigger, then the resolution must be bigger. Well, you'd be wrong there because the Switch OLED still has a 720p screen, but with a slightly bigger 7-inch display. For reference, the original Switch models, including the Switch Lite, had a 6.2-inch 720p screen. For me, it's not something I'm mad about because I don't need cutting-edge technology for a portable console. I just need fun games that can be played in both short bursts and in long sessions. Plus, the bigger screen actually makes it easier for me to read text in JRPGs, visual novels, and other games that are very text-heavy. So, speaking of games, Every single one I've tried out so far looks so much better on this screen. The first games I played were major Nintendo developed titles. The grand majority of the games all look lovely and really show off the screen in all of its glory, due to them already looking really nice and running at a high frame rate. However, games like Xenoblade 2, which already looked ugly on the original Switch models, still don't look all that great in handheld mode, due to the lower internal resolution of the game. The next batch of games I tried out were collection titles and ports of older games, namely ones with a 4:3 aspect ratio. They all look so much better on the OLED screen due to the fact that the OLED screen itself has the ability to create a true black border for these games. Before, I would prefer to have the non-black borders on, but nowadays I keep the borders on for these games due to how great it looks. After trying out those ones, the final batch of games I decided to try were stylized AAA and indie games, which is what I'm seeing most people buying the Switch for in the first place. And once again, these games look beautiful on the OLED screen. I would even argue that these games, especially those that have a hand-drawn art style, are graphically enhanced by the screen. So while some games look even better, there are still those few that didn't look good on the original and look even worse on the OLED due to the bigger screen. So with everything laid out clearly, do I regret upgrading to the Switch OLED? The answer is no. I love the fantastic screen, I love the more premium feel to the design of the console, I love the new kickstand, I love almost everything about it, honestly. The only things I'm more skeptical of are screen burn-in, which is an inevitability with OLED screens, and the frankly pitiful amount of storage. Besides that, I have to say that I'm happy with my purchase, and I don't regret it at all. Now with that said, do I recommend this model over the other ones? Well, it depends. If you already have a Switch and you only play it docked, then no, you really shouldn't even bother. It's just not going to be worth it to you. If you're playing it in portable/tabletop mode often, or you're a Switch Lite owner, then I'd say a hard maybe, because whether or not it's worth it to you, it's really up to you. If you're a completely new customer and are willing to pay the extra $50 for the console new, and you think the new features sound interesting, then by all means, go for it. I honestly don't think you'll regret it, and I think you'll be fairly happy with your purchase. Unless you do end up regretting it, in which case, I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience of me not giving a fuck what you think. So, with this video said and done, I hope to see you in the next one.